Hi, I'm Seamless, and today is Friday, which means it's time for a new How to Bass tutorial. And today, I'm going to show you how to make this sound. So, today's experiment, it was some of an experiment. I've done something like this before, but not with this sort of intention. And the intention is to use Serum and not really macro stuff. So one of the cool things about Serum is that just about every parameter can be linked via a macro and controlled as a result, and as such, and just automated like that, much like Massive is. And there's also a lot of internal automation as well, different envelopes and LFOs, and key tracking, velocity tracking, all kinds of stuff we can use to control various parameters efficiently. Now, I wanted to do something that was extremely inefficient, and whereas instead of automating a parameter by linking it and moving that one macro to control all the different parameters, I'm just automating all the parameters individually, and it's not really as many of them as I could. I could definitely have automated more, but just a lot, and involving a lot of different stuff to do a lot of different things. So the beginning of this all is I am using Monster 9, which is one of mine, in the spectral tabs, spectral sort of space, and it's just using its wavetable, and then I'm using the remap. Now, the remap inside Serum is basically a way of building your own warp mode. And to sort of see what this does, it's easier to look at this in the waveform view as opposed to the table view, because now you can sort of see what happens to it when you move it around. Now, the remap window allows you to essentially create your own warp mode. Bend, plus and minus, asymmetry, all that stuff are all warp modes. And remap just lets you make your own. And so I made one that did essentially this. I don't ever go this high with it, but this definitely does alter the sound and shape of the sound. The sound and shape of the sound. Yeah, it's totally something that makes sense. So the primary automation is still just wavetable and the remap. I'm also doing pitch automation. I'm automating the pitch bend, and by default the pitch bend range is 2, and I bring all the way to the maximum, which is 24, which is to say that the center is the normal position, and you have 2 octaves up and 2 octaves down, and to create that pitch automation. Without the pitch automation, it's just kind of just up to you whether or not you like it or not. Just because it's Serum and we don't have access to bend slide notes, that kind of thing. Next to that is going, I have the sub, I have the noise engaged. I just went and found a noise I liked, which is the Polar 2 in the SOR folder, and set the key track so that it will change. It'll follow the pitch tracking, and it'll also follow key tracking and that kind of thing. I set the pitch to the part where it sounded kind of okay, and then the level is pretty low because the noise is actually a bit interesting by itself. I've also got just the saw wave with some unison, and that's being automated by this guy over here, the B-vol here, and that's just a layer that in order to have some sharpness attached to what's happening. All of those, the noise, the oscillator A, oscillator B, I just have the sub going direct out, so it's not going into any effects at all. But these 3 things, the noise, the monster, and custom, just a saw wave, are going into the filter. And that filter is a reverb thing. This is actually a tip that Virtual Riot gave me, where you automate the panning of the filter. Now, just in general, not just the reverb filter, but for the filters in general, what's cool about the panning filter was that it alters the position of the filter left and right, so that it creates stereo separation by changing the filter value from either to either channel. So when we do this on the reverb filter, it's a little insane how crazy sort of results end up being. And just large amounts of the stereoization that we're getting right now are from the filter. Just to show you what that does. You'll need to mess around with the reverb filter to understand precisely what it's doing to your sound, and then it should be pretty clear about how you can utilize it or not. It's a very creative thing to do, and I kind of like it a lot. I'm a big fan of it. I believe that's all that's important happening up here. And then there's a lot of effects stuff that we're doing. So the first EQ has a band pass, or rather a high pass and a notch that are being automated. You can see him doing the thing. And then we have the flanger, and the flanger I don't think is being automated at all. Nope, that's just set to a particular position, and it's very high feedback. So if I were to turn it really far up, we can hear it. It's also moving really fast at the rate, so that's just kind of there to convolute the sound even further. You might not like it being that fast. You can just turn the rate down, and it'll sound a little bit better. In the distortion, I have the X shaper on, which is just a wave shaper. I have edit A and edit B both engaged. Now, edit A and edit B are essentially either side of the drive position. So when drive's at 0, it's fading to edit A, and when drive's at 100%, if it's to edit B. So it's not necessarily just dry to wet. I do have the dry wet mix down a little bit, but I am automating the drive, the difference between the two distortions. It's doing a lot of weird stuff. I'll turn it down a little bit, actually. So then I have another filter, and this is one of the phase filters, which is essentially just a different kind of comb filter. The flanges and the phases and combs, there are variations on the same kind of concept, and they help to they'll just do that kind of thing. This one has a high pass frequency, so it kind of high passes where it begins to be denser. It's a little bit hard to explain, but it's essentially like a built-in high pass into the where the combing starts, kind of thing. And so I'm automating that, and I'm automating the cutoff to just create additional modulation. However, I am bringing the wet dry down pretty far because it does do kind of a lot, or less than I thought, but it's still a bit much in general. And I have hyper. I'm not doing anything with it. It's just there to kind of add more depth to stuff, albeit a little tiny bit, because I really didn't want it to, like, if I bring it up fully, it would kind of make the saw waveform less sharp. I didn't really want it to sound like a separate, this layered thing in there. I just kind of wanted to involve itself in there, so it sort of imparts its sharpness over it because of a pretty soft sounding wavetable. That's 4. And then we have a compressor. I have it on multi-band mode, and it's just a multi-band compressor. It doesn't let you set individual bands, but it does let you set all 3. It does the limiting, essentially the brick wall limiting. I set it to brick wall. Well, not really brick wall. It's like brick-ish wall limiting. It's not even limiting. It's just compressing. But it does individual compression and a low, mid, and high, which is the point of multi-band compression. I would probably have normally done that with like a Maximus or something, but I wanted to keep all of this into like an internal, a single Serum, just to see what could be done. And it was pretty cool. Actually did kind of like what it sounded like without the pitch mod. I think it might like reverse this. So when I do pitch mod with automation, I basically just make sure that I have 50% copied as a value, because even if you do bring it down to 50%, you can actually move a bit inside the percentage that keeps it away from it actually being literally 50%. Lots of possibilities with that. So overall, this was just me individually automating things and doing a bit more manual stuff. I'm fully aware that you can do this anyway if you use the inside Serum. If you use the LFOs, there's an envelope mode where it'll play through the range of it once and then stop. And you can set it to be pretty long, and you can do pretty specific I could have done perhaps this entire bar in some of these LFOs and also in the envelope. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I would have been able to do a couple of them anyway. I would have been able to do 7. And I would have found some way, I suppose, to sort of modulate more things than others. And that's how you would, if you've got the Virtual Riot Serum preset pack, you'll actually see that he does that as well, and a lot of them. I actually learned a lot from that pack. That's why I got that pack, so I can steal his secrets. But, yeah, so this is fun. This FLP is available for download, so you can screw around with it. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And as usual, have a nice day.